Hey, 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 Kinsey, Shae here, transformational coach and HEARTMATH, trauma sensitive practitioner. Today, we're going to talk about sing to move through the holidays and really hone in on the grief component, kind of talk about six different components of grief. And then after we talk about grief, I'm going to discuss a really cool heart-soaking technique that can help you really move through some hardships and some grief. So I'm so grateful and excited to be here with you. To start off, sing. Just to look at it at another, I made an acronym for it that ties into my content, but also singing, it is such a good antidepressant. It releases dopamine and serotonin that can just really activate your body to feel good. And when we do that, it activates our immune system. So we anchor to that replenishing system, that parasympathetic system, instead of the depleting, the sympathetic system. So the acronym, SING, S, soak, I, N, negative events or emotions, G, gratitude. So sing to move through the holidays. This technique really has 4 parts, and I'm going to discuss them now. And then I'll demonstrate how you can move through this technique to help you. When you're feeling stuck, we have worry or anger or sadness or resentment. These are all human emotions, and they're all healthy if we move through them and anchor to the positivity. We might feel trapped by our emotions and our past hurts, our traumas. So heart soaking is acknowledging without judgment. I talked about gratitude and acknowledgement. Now I'm talking about acknowledgement that incorporates that. 2, heart-focused breathing. Like my last video, the 3 hearts. And then 3, enfold. And 4, soak. And I will go demonstrate this, but pretty much it's just acknowledging what you're feeling. It might be a time when you wake up in the middle of the night and the loss of a loved one. I recently, my eldest brother passed away in a tragic accident. And I use this technique a lot when I wake up and I miss my brother. And it's a beautiful practice because I focus on my breathing, focus on my heart space, and really breathe in and out through my heart. And then feel the gratitude, feel the appreciation that I got to see him and be in his life while he was alive. So enfolding, when we do the practice, it's pretty much you put all your worries, your frustrations, everything in a piece of paper or fabric in your mind's eye. And then you place it in your heart and let it unfold and let all those emotions soak and release. And you release it to your heart. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. So I will demonstrate that at the end of the video. But let's talk about grief. There has been many times where I have felt grief, much like you. I had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. And the grief that I felt I was angry. I was pissed that I couldn't get pregnant. I would see the children and I just wanted to have a child. When I was in a wheelchair, I was angry that I couldn't walk or run like I used to. When I lost my brother, I just felt regret that I couldn't help him, and anger that it happened, among other things. These are just a few examples. We have a tendency to feel alone. We sometimes feel that nobody understands, and the way we do grief doesn't make sense to other people. And that brings me to the first of 6 that I want to talk about grief. 1, people may think, you might get this from your family, you might get this from friends, because you are not grieving in the way that they think you should. With my brother, a lot of people told me, Kinsey, you're not allowing yourself to grieve. But I actively took steps and tools to move through my grief. I did a total truth letter. It's basically looking at the layers of our emotions and giving voice and releasing the regret, the anger, till we get to desire and appreciation. That's just one of the tools I use, but a lot of people didn't feel that I was really embracing it because it didn't look like what they were doing. Honor yourself and listen to your intuition. If you are actively moving through it, I celebrate you to continue to do that. But the key component is that you're not diverting away from it, that you're actively moving through it. So celebrate yourself no matter how. Some people may want to celebrate a death of a loved one with a huge party, or make the holidays, the best ever. And that might not be what's in your heart space. So just honor and celebrate yourself. And really honor and celebrate how other people grieve. One way. It's not a one size fits all, right? 2, express grief in your own way. And I kind of doubled up 1 and 2 because it's the same principle. Whether it's journaling, or if you did a certain activity with your mother or your brother or your friend, or you lost a patient and you remember you got close with them, or if it was a fallen comrade when you were deployed, honor them and anchor to that positive emotion and honor their memory. And it's okay if you have anger, if you feel stuck, if you feel sadness or you're concerned for their family, how they're going to cope. Just honor that. And 3, I've mentioned this before, really honor other people, how they move through grief. Because everybody has their own way to grieve. Grieving can be there's a broad spectrum of how you can move through it, as long as it's moving through the feelings of grief, not diverting away from it, but really honoring other people, how they move through it, and just hold space for them. And grief can pop up anytime. I was walking the other day, and I've really accepted the fact that I can't have children. But grief doesn't always have to be a debilitating process. When I saw the child, I thought about how I would be as a mom. I thought about how it would be to hold the baby. And I just, in my mind's eye, I imagined it. And I gave gratitude for having that moment, even though I didn't, in this time and space, have that opportunity. 5, grief can be invisible. When I was moving through, miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, I put on a mask, a brave face. I'm okay. I'm okay. But inside, I felt like a puddle on the floor. Just a wreck. But I put on a brave face because I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to feel needy. I didn't want others to see me as being weak. These are all programs we have inside us, but they don't allow us to grow and move forward to who we can be. 6, grief can exist on many spectrums. Grief might not be losing a loved one. Grief might be not able to do a job you were passionate about because of injuries. That was the case for me. After my car accident, I almost lost my arm. I was in a wheelchair and I had 22 plus surgeries. And I grieved taking care of other people. I grieved who I used to be. There's nothing wrong with grief as long as we anchor to positive regenerative. I know you might be saying, how can you anchor to gratitude when you're going through something horrific or challenging? Our emotions determines our behavior. They can be positive or negative. So after my car accident, I was literally roadkill. y'all. I was roadkill. But I knew that I had, my intention was to forgive the driver that caused the accident. Because I knew if I anchored to that anger, resentment, the frustration, that I wouldn't heal. I wouldn't activate all of those good hormones that activates my immunity. And in actuality, it would hurt me in the future. So I looked for the gratitude that I was alive. I looked for the gratitude that I had surgeons to help put me back together like Humpty Dumpty. So during all of these times and during the holidays, it can be challenging and grief can show up in many different ways. But 6 key things, the people may think mentality, focus on what your essence, your truth, your body, what you need. Express grief in your own way, whether that's journaling, walking, running. It's finding balance and moving forward. Honor others in their grieving process. Honor how they're celebrating, how they're moving through grief. Meet them where they are. And if they need encouragement, encourage without judgment by holding space so they can feel seen and heard. And 4, grief can pop up at any time. And it doesn't mean you haven't been, if like with me seeing the baby and I could have anchored to the negative energy, I should be done with this. How many of us have said that? I went through that process, I'm done. But I honored it. And I anchored it to positivity and gratitude. And grief can be invisible. Other people's may not see it, but you are working through it yourself. Just know there are coaches, people, anybody can work. If you choose to work with me, that would be awesome. But there are many ways that you can connect with people to help you if you feel invisible. And know that grief can exist on a broad spectrum. It's very different in very different situations, in very different people. There's no right or wrong way. Again, that's a program. Just because you move through something in a certain way doesn't mean others will. So this is me coming on here, talking about grief around the holidays where it might be heightened. Sharing my way, shining my light, sharing my lessons. Because knowledge is key to healing your mind, body, and soul, and anchoring your emotions to move forward. So let's soak in the negative event or emotions or gratitude, because while I was going through that, you may have had something pop up or trigger you, or, something that you haven't thought about because you've been deflecting or distracting yourself. So I'm going to show you, which is an awesome thing if you get triggered. It's an invitation to observe and learn and move through it. So the heart soak technique is a HEARTMATH technique. And it's acknowledgement, heart focused breathing, enfolding, and soaking into your heart, which which I did previously in the video discussed. But today I really want to demonstrate how this might look. So think of a time where you felt stuck, where you have worry, anger, sadness. This might happen to you in the middle of the night, where you feel trapped, where you can't see out. So really ground down into your body, get in a comfortable position, acknowledge the event, acknowledge the situation without judgment. Just observe. And know that you're safe. Now really breathe into your heart. Focus on your chest area, your heart area. I like to put my hand on my heart. Really breathe in. Deeper than you usually do. Breathe in the way that's comfortable for you. Now in your mind's eye, all of those feelings and emotions and where you felt stuck, place them in a piece of paper as you continue to breathe in and out through your heart. Just fold all of those feelings in a piece of paper or fabric. Now see yourself reaching for that folded piece of paper or fabric and placing it into your heart. Soak all of those emotions with care and compassion. That's what your heart holds. And say to yourself out loud or in your head, I release this to my heart now. Focusing on your breathing. Repeat it as much as you need. I release this to my heart now. If you still feel a lot of resentment, anger, or you still feel stuck, one thing that I do is release all the negativity to the universe with love and fill my heart with gratitude. Release all the negativity to the universe and all the gratitude in my heart. And really breathe that in. How does that feel? This is a simple technique that can regulate your body, meaning using your body's natural chemicals as a pharmacy to help activate your immune system to heal your mind, body, and spirit. I hope you have enjoyed today's session, to sing, to move through the holidays. Soak in negative events and emotions with gratitude. And talking about grief. Grief can show up at any time. The key is having tools in your tool belt to help you move through them. I am so happy and grateful to be here in this time and space with you. And my name is Kinsey Shae, Transformational Coach and HEARTMATH, Trauma Sensitive Practitioner. Next week, we're going to go into reconnect, and I'll share another technique. So it would make my heart so full of gratitude if you join me next week and like, subscribe, do all that fun jazz. And I will see you next Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Light, love, gratitude.